Hello everybody and welcome to our latest video in the series of videos that we are doing on Plato Symposium. So this is the fourth video and today we're finally going to be delving into a little bit of the text from the actual book. So within the book there's no chapters or natural breaks, so what we work off of is this kind of traditional line numbering system. So the lines that we're going to be looking at today would be traditionally categorized as from 172A to 177E. You'll just see the lines beside the text in the book. So the opening of the book is very interesting in itself. It starts with this character called Apollodorus telling this unnamed character about this famous drinks party that took place at Agathon's house, which is the subject of the book, the Symposium. Apollodorus himself wasn't at the party, he was too young. This party took place maybe 15 years before Apollodorus is telling this unnamed character. I always like to think of the unnamed character as the reader, because we're the one being told the story and the character isn't named. So Apollodorus says that he was told the story by a man called Aristodemus, who was actually at the party. Aristodemus had been invited to the party by Socrates, and Apollodorus says that he also checked out Aristodemus' version of the party with Socrates, and Socrates kind of said, yeah, that's about right, that's kind of what happened. If we were to delve into this book with our literary lens as opposed to like our philosophical lens, we might want to look at some of the kind of literary devices that are used in setting up the narration this way. But for us, I suppose the most important thing is that Apollodorus wasn't at the party and he's relaying the story he heard off Aristodemus. Apollodorus mentions that there are a few versions of the story out there. He had been talking to a guy called Glaucon only a few days earlier who'd got the story completely wrong. So Apollodorus is trying to give this definitive version of what actually happened at the party. So to me, it seems that this kind of story within a story, this kind of chaotic way of getting to the content of the ideas expressed at the drinks party kind of mirror the ethereal and the kind of confusing nature of love itself. Again, this is just my own interpretation of it. But by not presenting the Symposium in direct language, for example, not just having Aristodemus tell the story who was at the party, but by Plato not presenting this as a direct dialogue, but rather as a story. The words that are written down in this book aren't quite dogmatic, because it's not a faithful, complete, 100% accurate retelling of the story. It's a great attempt at it, and Apollodorus has attempted to kind of fact check it and stuff like that, but it's not the best attempt. It's not the best, most accurate version. So for us as the readers, what does that mean? It means that we're not to take these speeches as gospel. We're supposed to put our own interpretations upon them, and that's something that we will be doing as we look through the rest of it. We put our own interpretations on it. Sometimes we'll be using the interpretations from other academics who've talked about what they believe, and sometimes we'll just be putting our own interpretations on it. So the Symposium, or the party itself, it's taking place at this character called Agathon's house. Now, Agathon was a real person. He was a playwright, very famous playwright, and this party is taking place after winning this thing called the Linnaean Dramatic Festival, which was this big drama festival in Athens, and whoever won it would become very famous. So the Symposium, as we talked before, means it's a drinks party. So this is a celebration of Agathon's victory. At a symposium, you would usually sit down, you have a meal, followed by some form of entertainment with drinks afterwards. So the entertainment could range from music to dancing to something a little bit more sordid, or it could be philosophical conversations. But the symposium we're looking at what happened was the guys had all kind of partied a little bit too hard the night before because of Agathon's victory. They were all a little bit hungover, and they said, right, let's take it easy tonight. We're going to mix lots of water in with the wine. We're going to drink for pleasure rather than to get drunk. And we're going to send the entertainment away, and we're just going to have our own conversation, our own ode to love. So as the story, as they send everyone away and decide that they're going to give speeches to love, they decide on what way they will proceed with the evening. So they decide that everyone's going to give a speech and they're not to be interrupted. So you stand up, you give your speech, your ode to love, and that's kind of the rules of the party. So decided to take it in turns from right to left. As you can see from here, it starts off with this character called Phaedrus. Then obviously the next two people aren't shown or aren't recounted in the story. But that in itself is interesting because again it shows that we don't have the full details of what's actually happening at this drinks party. Not everything's remembered. So again, it's up to us to kind of fill in the blanks and put our own interpretations and our own views of what love is in them. So after Phaedrus, we have Pausanias, then we have Euryximachus, followed by Aristophanes. Then in fifth, we have Agathon, who the party is in celebration of. Then we have Socrates, and the final person is this party crasher, Alcibiades. So because all the characters are asked to give a speech, we don't actually see Socrates' famous dialectic method of questioning. So we talked about what the dialectic was earlier on, but we will have examples of that as well. So this sets the stage where our first speaker is going to be Phaedrus. We will look into his speech the next day. Now we've introduced the main characters we'll be looking at. We've also seen the kind of literary device with which the book is presented to us. And I suppose to take from this that we will be giving our own interpretation on the speeches and stuff like that. So while we'll be presenting kind of what was said within our own discussions, we'll be talking about how we view the odes to love that are to follow.